Town have scooters. I hadn't seen these ever. But anyway, hey, I want to do a little updates on things I've said in videos. Hopefully I'll put these in order. And yeah, so it might make some more sense if I do that, right? To go to a store over here, but there was a guy who was in front of me and he just stopped right in the middle of, I don't know, right in the middle of the drive, you know, when you go to the next to the stores, and he just seemed very odd. I said, no, I'm still a little shaken from that, all those shootings and everything, and knowing that the El Paso shooter was from the town that I live in. He attended the college where I taught. And when I was doing substitute teaching, while I was working on my, in graduate school. No, wait, I think it was when I was working in graduate school. He attended one of the schools. He graduated from one of the high schools where I taught as a substitute teacher. Some of them call them visiting teachers. Yeah. I don't want to take away from what the people who've been, the survivors of this and the people who've been through it, of course, what they experience at all. But yeah, I'm still, going to say for those who, experience, even though you're not involved, yeah, you're not involved directly, but you still have feelings. So, this is going to start shaking now. So, anyway, that's a little update because I did a video about that. So, now how dangerous is that? I think it's a woman. I think I've seen her before do this downtown. Yeah. I know, maybe it's not the same person. But yeah, that was dangerous. I hope this isn't a whole lot of shaking going on. I just went through where they had those brick roads. That would have been a whole lot of shaking going on. But anyway, where was I? What was I talking about? But yeah, I mean, there was that. I wanted to give a little update on that. And there's other things I'd like to give updates on too. And just a second. And part of that one was about, facing my fears. Now, I'm all into that, but I'm not suggesting it to anybody. If you worked with your counselor on that, that's, you do what you're going to do. It's not because of me. Anything I say. But I was real big on that, and that was one of them, to, go back and start, doing the things I need to do. But, like I had said in that video, I think, I live in what I call Narcissism-Ville, and the summertime, and this is in Texas, north of Dallas. Yeah, it's like I don't want to be out there. I go, but I don't want to because people are unbelievable. And like I said in one of the videos, hopefully I'll put them in order, that even, these people that I ran across, that live in the neighborhood, they said the same thing. I didn't prompt it, they said it. Yeah, it's awful. I'm telling you, I'm saying all this. I just had two bad experiences. One of them was, I'm in Texas, okay? This is Texas. I am Texan. My accent is Texan, okay? And I went to a drive-through, and they could not understand me. And no, it's not an ethnic thing, okay? And I just really honestly think they didn't want to work, okay? And they really do. Just gave me the impression, because there's no way you cannot understand. I want 3 combos, okay? And then to still ask me, do you want them combos? And stuff like that. The whole freaking order. Now, this is life in Narcissism-Ville. Okay, this is mild. That was mild. And I have to tell the story about, I think I may have already. I haven't made it public. We're supposed to go on another channel. But my experience on just trying to get frames for my computer glasses, and I wound up, it took over a month because it was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable situation. To so many different places, because I don't think they want to make glasses here. Not ones you can see it through, at least. Yeah. And the optometrist and all that. Oh, my big story. But the other one was, as soon as I got out of that, there was somebody coming from the, like, here I am in line, say I'm in the one that's, closest to the middle, and somebody was coming from, like, way over there. And they tried to run right in front of me. I'm like, I had to blow my horn because it's a 40-mile-per-hour road, 40 to 45. And they just tried to pull out right in front of me, they're first. And then they got behind me, and it was like, they were looking at me like I had a problem. That's how it is. In Narcissism-Ville, you don't let the people, you don't let people, anybody, I don't care who it is, it's not, of course, it's not 100%, not everybody, I should not have said everybody. But if you don't let somebody that's going to do that do it, then you have the problem. What was I going to do, slam on my brakes so they could go into the road? No. But that's how people see it. Seriously. Oh my goodness. This has to be a day I should not have gotten out. I should not have gone out. Okay, where was I? I was complaining. This is going to be one of those definitely vlog complaining Narcissism-Ville videos, and it was supposed to be just be an update. But okay, the person that ran across the road, then I come here. The other two places were closed where I went. It's Sunday. And then I come over here, and at least they weren't blaring their music this time, but hey, the guy said no onions, and I said, hold on, you already got it wrong. And I said, read it back, and he read it back. He said no cheese. I said, well, you had said no onions. He said, I never said that. People here, they love to be argumentative with the customer, because he did say no onions. I said, I never said no onions. He said, I never said no onions either. Like that. I'm serious. It's like, I mentioned this before, always put the customer on defense. That's what they do. They're so busy all the time that they don't stop long enough to think at things. And like I said, I can go right outside of here. And this suburb, this was not just one suburb, it's one area that I call Narcissism-Ville. Go right outside of it, 10 miles away. Doesn't happen. It's night and day difference. So yeah. Anyway, I was making this for one channel. Maybe I'll put it on my other channel, the one that I talk more about this kind of stuff. Because yeah, I'm looking to make sure this person doesn't back in my car. And that's how it is, and it's like constantly being on the defensive just to go out, because something like that's going to happen. And I had started again to order groceries to be delivered, and the bad thing about that is far too often it comes up with produce that's misshapen, or you open it up and it's pretty much rotten. And so I stopped doing produce that way. I went through a different place that's all they do is produce. And the people are so much in a hurry, they just run up and they want to just drop it off and run, because they make more money the faster they are. I don't blame them. They should be paid more. Seriously. But the problem with that is sometimes they forget things. I don't know how they do. I mean, I'm sure it's all done through the computer and they're looking at it, but yeah, you get your groceries and you don't have everything, and they haven't told you that, and troubles with everything. Why can't anything be just like it used to be? You go to the grocery store, you get your food, you buy your food, you have a pleasant little conversation with the cashier. They're not sending you to do your own work at your own checkout, to do all the work yourself. Yeah, that's sarcasm. Yeah. Okay, and there's actually somebody who sacks the groceries and takes them out. I grew up in that era. It wasn't a question, do you need me to help you out? I remember when I first heard something like that, it started becoming a regular, and I was like, wow. It's kind of like, when they stop pumping your gas. Yeah, I lived through that. They used to check your oil, all the fluids in your car. Yeah, and put some extra if you needed it. They took pride in their work. No longer. No. Okay, and I honestly think that some of what, at least here in Narcissism-Ville, what they take pride in is how annoyed they can make the customer. I'm not joking with that. And I've mentioned in the video, like I said, I made this for another channel, but I'll put it here, is that some people I know who, I ran across, and they brought it up about how, bad it is here just to go shopping. Just to do anything here in town. The people are so, even, they were talking about, one of them was talking about walking her dog, and how somebody was so rude to her about it, and she's just a total stranger that I think she told the stranger, she said, you go ahead and call the cops. Because she said, I told her off. And, and the woman said, well, I'm going to call the cops on you. And said, she's told her, go ahead. I would love to hear it. So she said she actually called the cops herself and reported the woman for stalking her. So, just because she was walking her dog, and the woman said, you don't live here. She does live there. And it was racist, really, is what it was. And racism. And she said, and that's not your car. And, just accusing her of, bad. And I can tell you, it would not at all surprise me if the guy who, the person who comes out to deliver my meal is the same one who took it and is going to be really, try to put me on the defensive. But I'm going to be videoing it. I am. Yeah. I've had that happen before at places, they're rude to you. But, they're going to make sure it's your fault. You're not minding them. You are the customer. Yeah, and like, some people have had this happen to me when I've made videos before. They said, they'll come back and say, the customer isn't always right. Well, no, the customer's not always right. Nobody on this planet is always right. But the thing about it is, the customer's not always wrong either. And that's I think is where things are going wrong, is that people want to say, well, not every customer is right. You don't need to put a customer on defensive. You don't need to be rude to the customer. But we've become that. It's become that way far too often. Not everybody. I've worked as cashier when I was younger. I know how it is when you get a really snippy customer, and you don't deserve that. But you don't have to make sure the customer knows they're wrong and that you're all powerful and they're just the customer, like just a customer. That kind of attitude. That's the attitude we have these days too much. People want to say you're just the customer and we're all that matters. No, at least here. Not everybody, like I said. Okay, and just for the record, my order's taking longer than they usually do. No surprise there. Yeah, none at all. Yep, that's how it's going to be, huh? Okay, and I'm pretty much sure I'm right. It's going to be that person coming out with it. Yeah. Okay, I think it was the guy, and he came up and he said, it sounded like he said, yo, man. And instead, what he was saying, it was, yes, ma'am. But it was not easy to understand him, and I'm not trying to do an ethnic thing. No, nope, not at all. And I don't know whether he intentionally meant that to do that, because the way he came up was weird as it was. I don't know. I'm so tired of all these things. Like I said, I need to start going out for everything outside of here. Live a real life. Anyway, I'm wrapping this up. Talk to y'all later. Bye.